welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today, favorite returning guest, fan favorite, again, just bringing back the hits. I'm not even going to mess around with the intro here. Minnesota's finest podcaster, back in the game. Jess Schroeder, how you going? Welcome back.
Happy to be back. You sure do know how to pump my tire. Set the bar really high for me.
You're like, that's right. I am Minnesota's greatest podcaster. I'd forgotten.
Wait, let me check. I'm Minnesota's only podcaster.
Default, yeah. Well, it was funny because you had been on Tarkin Tangents with our buddy Dallas, and you just tweeted going, "Oh, the fire's been relit. Like, you got to talk me some Star Wars."
I mean, it might have been the 3 beers that got me, got me all jazzed. But
there's no prerequisite to have to drink on this podcast. This isn't Force Toast or Tarkin Tangents where they, and I've done both those podcasts, and I've had the girls from Force Toast, and I haven't been on Force Toast, but they're just like, yeah, we're just cracking a drink. Like, where we go? I'm like, that's great, but if I'm recording you guys and it's your evening, it's like 11 in the morning here, so got to keep.
I know. I definitely was drinking the first time I recorded with you because I was so nervous,
And now you're just like, whatever, man. It's just another day.
Now I got my water here. I'm just relaxed.
Just a Tuesday night, whatever. Well, we can both have water then. We can just we're gonna just run with that. I'll have a little water now here. We'll just cheers to that.
Good old H2O.
Yeah. It was quite funny. I just saw something this morning. I don't know if you probably don't follow soccer at all, but
thank you for calling it soccer for me.
Yeah, I'm going to follow football. Well, we call Australian rules football here, so we do differentiate. But one of the most famous players in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo, he because the European Championships are at the moment, he did a press conference, and I guess there's Coca-Cola is sponsoring it, and he sat down and just looked at the Coca-Cola and went, nah. Not having that sugar water in front of me, he just put it to the side and goes, everybody just drink water. And apparently, like after he did that, their share price went down 5% or something and wiped like $5 billion of value off the Coca-Cola share price.
Oh no! Wow, that's power.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that. I think just because you've said you've got your water here, drink H2O. I don't think we're going to affect the share price too much of anything, let alone Star Wars.
We're fine, yeah.
So how's things going there? You're all opened up. You're all footloose and free. I've seen you just,
footloose and
putting photos of having family holidays, just jetting around.
Just going maskless left, right, and center. Yeah, it's been nice. It's been strange. I mean, I do have... everyone's, I guess, comfort level is varied as it has been through the whole thing. I was very good about wearing my mask and being, like the 6-foot mask wearing, like trying to follow every rule and be respectful of everyone through COVID. Yeah. And now I've been fully vaxxed for months, and I'm just like, you know what? I earned this. I'm just ripping that. The moment I got to the grocery store the first time and saw the mask sign was gone, I'm like, mask is coming off. We're doing this. We're trusting science.
I've done the rules. This is my reward. Yeah, well, we just got out of lockdown here in Melbourne. Like we went into a 2-week snap lockdown because as I said, when Tracy was on last week, she's in Melbourne as well, that, the problem with getting zero COVID around the country is that anytime it gets out, because we still have, if anybody comes in from overseas, they have to go into hotel quarantine. But occasionally stuff happens, it gets out there. So as soon as it gets out and there's a couple of cases, everyone freaks out and we don't want to go any further. So we just went back into lockdown for like 2 weeks. So we got out on Friday, but we still can't, we can only travel 25 kilometers, or I don't know, was that 20 miles or so for the people who don't do metric, and we still have to do masks, so we're still doing masks outside and inside at the moment, but they reckon that'll be lifted today or tomorrow. So it's just weird, because we were having 80,000 at the football, we had all the things open, we were having concerts, we were doing it all.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. You're like, you guys earned it. You were so good.
Yeah,
you did everything right from the beginning.
Our vaccine stuff's been so slow, so we're still just waiting on everybody being vaccinated. But I got my first vaccination 2 days ago. So I got Pfizer. So I got a Pfizer pump in the arm.
That's me. I had Pfizer too.
Yeah, nice. Now, did you get sick at all, or were you okay?
I I mean, I would say it was okay. I did wake up in the middle of the night and I had chills and I
Hmm.
had felt a little nauseous, but it wasn't like I was able to fall back to sleep after like 30 minutes. And then when I
Okay.
woke up for the day, I felt completely fine.
Was that the
So just
second or the first one, or just
that was the
during?
second one. I didn't have any side effects from the first
Yeah, I
one.
have the same. I had a bit of a sore arm where I got jabbed, but I'd heard people I'd sort of spoken to here who've had the second one said that's the one that knocks you around. So
Hmm.
we'll just, but again, it just completely depends on your situation and stuff. So I'm hoping I'll be okay. But the irony being, we did the podcast a few weeks ago when they said that Celebration had been moved up, and then Australia's borders weren't going to close till mid-year, and then they conveniently just made Celebration even closer to the date where we're not supposed to get out, and everything was up in the air. And it looked like at that stage that we weren't going to get our vaccinations until the end of the year. But one good thing about this snap lockdown is they've all freaked and gone, everybody's gone, like the vaccination panic has set in. So
Hmm.
the government got their ass into gear, and then they made it allowable, because before it's just been older people who could get it, and then they let the 40-year-olds in. So one advantage of being 40 is that they said, yeah, hey, you 40-year-olds, you can get the vaccine. So
Yeah.
it actually means that it's slightly more likely we
Looking more
might get there.
promising.
More
Oh, good.
promising, yeah. Well, I've booked my accommodation for it.
So no
So
more Disney House, I'm guessing. Disney House
no,
is.
so we've taken the safe route. So Catherine and I got up at like 5 in the morning for the hotels, and
Hmm.
basically we were just going the safe hotels because they've got all the cancellation protection,
Yep.
and you don't have to pay anything until you get there and all that kind of stuff. So we went, look, it's going to probably cost us more, but it just means that if it all turns out it's not happening, we don't have to worry about dealing with Airbnb, trying to wrangle the cash out of them, and like we did last time. So I'm going to miss that Disney house, sadly.
Yeah.
But now you
Maybe
said you
next
had a.
time.
I asked you about your accommodation. You said you had a little story, so
Oh,
you have the floor.
jeez. Well, I mean, it sounds like I had a similar situation to a few people where, well, first of all, I screwed up because I forgot. I forgot to be ready. Like the time, I knew the time I had. I'm like, okay, that means it's gonna be. I had to do the Google, like Pacific is to
Mm-hmm.
Central, blah blah blah. Okay, 2 p.m. Got to be ready.
So it
And
wasn't
I
5
was
a.m. like it was here then.
no, it was 2 p.m. It was a work day. So I think I must have just got caught up in work or something. And then all of a sudden, like 2:35, I was like, oh no. I'm like, the hotel. I'm like frantically pulling up the internet, blah, 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 looking for the link, Kyber Crystal, Kyber Crystal. I'm in. And then I put in, I think you like entered your dates, and I did arriving a day early and then checking out the day after the last day, and that like nothing was pulling up. So then then I think it says something like just put in the straight dates of the convention. So I did that, and then like every time I would click on a hotel, I wouldn't no rooms would show up. So then I have to go back. Couldn't figure out how to go back. Had to start all over. Kyber Crystal. Okay, putting in the dates, and then just like every time it was like different hotels, like random rooms. Like what? Okay, clearly I just have to grab whatever I can at this point. So I think I finally ended up at the Hyatt. It's like south of the convention, like a mile.
Yep.
Hyatt something region. I don't know. I could probably pull up the email, but um I still need to try and figure out how to get a day tacked on either side. So I hope that won't be a
Yeah, I'm
problem.
trying to do that at the moment. So we got, I don't know, some hotel it was pretty close. It wasn't like in the block, but it was like across the road sort of thing, on the other side. But
Mhm.
I sort of emailed Celebration and emailed the hotel directly and say, hey, look, how do I go about getting some extra days like the day before, and I think maybe even a day or two after, because I think I'm going to try and go to Disneyland the day after, and then you need the day to get out and go home. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, they just like, oh, hey, just tell us your dates and we'll see what we can do. And that was kind of it. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, I'm kind of at their mercy, I suppose.
And we'll see what we can do. It wasn't like, okay, no problem.
No,
I
it
just,
was, I'll see if I can find where is it? Because I got my email in front of me.
so it's not a done deal yet?
No, no, not at all.
Okay.
It was,
Well, that's,
so here it is. It literally said, thank you for email. Else, hang on, no, is that it? Oh yeah, we just said we're seeing you're wanting to extend your stay for the 2022 Star Wars celebration. Please be advised this is not a guarantee. That was like in bold. However, if you can provide it with the dates you're wanting to extend, we can move forward with your request. Thank you.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so
So it's very
yeah.
non-committal.
So my other thought was that the Airbnb dates don't go up that far yet, but I was thinking of looking to see, I don't know, if I could just, I don't know I guess I don't know what to do. I'll just
Yeah,
figure it out.
I did a quick Airbnb search, and there was a couple of things, and I'm just like, I don't know if there's like a refund guarantee on any of that kind of stuff. Like I don't want to dabble, but I'm just kind of
It's
it's just good to have it.
usually,
It's good to just have it.
yeah, yeah. So it's a good start. It's a good place to start, right?
Yeah, that's
You
right. It's
gotta,
sort of worst case scenario at the moment. It's just like, well, if we do get out, it just means that we will be there for those days at the least. So
so you're
really,
not gonna, oh, sorry.
no, go for it.
You're not gonna do like the 2 week trip like you did last time and
No, I
bounce
don't.
around?
No, I think it's going to be a bit tricky. It was a bit of a, in hindsight, probably, we had a 6-month-year-old at the
Mhm.
time, so it was a bit like, oh wow, it's kind of weird because it never really. I mean, I look back and kind of go, oh well, it was great that I got to go and Kat looked after the girls and everything was cool and things. And I've actually spoken to a few people since, and I was on a podcast and they kind of brought it like, how did you do that? How did you convince them to do it? And I just went, oh, it seemed like they were fine, and she kind of rolled with it and things. And you kind of stop and go, yeah, that is a really big ask, isn't it?
2 weeks? Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, so I think I'll just it'll be a week, or sort of by the time you get there and you leave and everything, I think it'll be a bit shorter, which is kind of ridiculous what it costs to get there. But
Not to mention the like, how long does it take your body to adjust and for you to
yeah,
feel
yeah.
alert?
It all depends on when you land. Like when I flew back from Celebration, actually, I managed to sleep through the whole flight and then arrived in the morning in Australia. So I was actually all right, and I got on that, sort of stayed up during the day and then went to bed, and I was actually okay. And because when I lived in England, I flew back between Australia and England at least once a year for sort of Christmas and things most years. So I've done that sort of huge 24-hour flight. God, probably 10 or 12 times, like I've done it a bunch of times. So you sort of get used to it, or sort of know what to expect, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you done a sort of massive flight like that before?
Just once from here to Germany,
Yep.
and I don't. I think it was a 9 hour time difference, if memory serves, and it wasn't. It wasn't too bad. I think. Yeah, I mean, within like 24 hours, felt pretty adjusted.
Mm. Yeah, I had a lot of, when I lived in England and I have friends or family and stuff come over, and they come and stay, always get them from the airport and things, and you always see them, they've done that 24-hour flight from Australia, and they're all sort of like, looking like they're about to fall over. And first thing you do is sit them down, get them a nice cup of tea, and then just try to stay up for the day. That's the trick, is basically just try to stay up. And I think I'd been up.
Yeah.
I think by the time I got to sleep at Celebration that first night, I think I'd been up 36 hours straight.
Oh
I
my
think it was,
gosh.
because I'd flown in the morning, because I'd gotten up first thing in the morning in Australia, and then flew all day, and then arrived, in the daytime in Chicago or LA, and then got to Chicago, and then was up all day, and then we went out that night. And yeah, I've just got to stay up and hit that nighttime sleep.
I don't know why it is like impossible for me to stay up late now. I just like, so right before COVID hit in 2020, we did this all inclusive concert vacation called Avits at the Beach. Have you ever heard of the Avett Brothers? Yeah.
No, only through your Instagram.
Okay.
Of you like
Well,
singing along, because I've seen that.
oh my God. Please no. Oh gosh. Yeah, there's more of that coming in the future, I think.
Cool.
But so we did that right before, it was in the Dominican Republic, right before COVID hit. And so you stay at this all-inclusive resort. The concerts are right on site. And then after the concert, we went with my friend and her husband. And every night my friend was like, let's party. Let's go to the bar. Let's go do that. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, I just want to go back to my hotel room and order room service. And I think one night I was able to stay up like maybe to one. But then, so basically I was a huge loser the whole time. And then we get home, and then immediately, like, the whole country shuts down in COVID. And I don't know how many times I told her, if I had only known, I would have stayed up until like 4 a.m. with you. If I could only have known this was going to happen.
This is going to be the last time I can go
Yeah.
out in 14 months that I can do something. Oh my
Mm.
goodness. Well, you know, you've got celebrations. It's going to be in LA. It's going to be warm nights.
Hopefully I can rally a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you
Stay
got
out
some
late.
time. You got a little. Well, you got a little bit less time than you thought you had. You got, but you know, it's going to be brought forward a little bit. So, are you sort of planning on going solo over there? Well, I think when you were on one time, you were talking about bringing your husband along. Or is
Yeah.
he? What's going on
S-
there? Is he got
Still
like I got
not.
better things to do?
No. I don't know. I guess I haven't really touched base with him to see where he's at, or if the time now makes a difference, because I mean, there's, plenty of weekends in the summer, but Memorial Day weekend is usually like the big first weekend at the cabin, blah blah blah. So I don't
Yep.
know if that will make any difference to him. The kids will still be in school, that would maybe be a little more challenging to get someone who could get them to school and get them where they need to be.
Mm.
So I'm not sure. We haven't sold his 1 day ticket yet. I know that. And I did put him down on my hotel reservation just in case. So we
I,
shall see.
I think the cancellation window is about to close. I think next week is the window to cancel it if you want to
Well,
cancel
it's
it.
just
But
a 1 day ticket. It was probably
yeah,
only
well, I think
like,
it's just the hey, you can cancel it, no questions asked. And then I think there's
mm,
like the exchange stuff that comes later where it's like, well, if someone will take it, you can get rid of it. But this is the more
mm-hmm.
it's gone. You know, you get all your money back and away you go. So yeah, we're hoping we're still pretty hopeful here. Probably even more so than we were a few weeks ago. Like it was
Good.
pretty devastating because we just
Yeah.
kind of assumed by the end of the year we'd be all right, and then we'd have 6 or 7 months next year to get ready, and then we kind of got that double blow of them saying the borders weren't going to open, and then the dates getting moved. But you know, I'll be fully vaccinated in about a month's time, so 3 weeks time. So let me out,
So,
man.
which of the Australians are game to go if the border is open?
Um,
You, Catherine, what Turbo?
Me and Catherine Turbo, Matt Grant from Blue Bantha Milk still trying to go. Andy and Steph, I think, are on the
I
fence.
think
I think.
I think Andy told me he wasn't going.
Yeah, I think they're got other life stuff because they were supposed to get married a few weeks ago. And I'm
Oh.
so speaking out of turn here, but then it was right during lockdown, so
Oh no.
so that's all thrown
Jeez.
a monkey wrench in those operations. So I think
Mhm.
they've got the new date stuff and trying to sort that out. But it's just again, it's that terrible timing of like we were out and about having holidays, going to football, having crowds, doing stuff, and then the brakes absolutely got slammed. So there'll be a few if we get out. There'll be a few of us still. But it's sort of I think there's still a determination to try and get there and see everybody, and yeah, we're just hoping. We're supposed to be going on a family holiday to Queensland in 2 weeks' time, and at the moment the borders are shut to Queensland, so we're just
Oh.
waiting. We can't even get out of the state at the moment, so
Huh.
we're hoping that we can get and do that because that's all sort of organised and bought and paid for and things. So fingers crossed.
Hmm.
Could use a
Yeah.
summer holiday. It's cold and awful. Well, by Australian standards, anyway.
Oh yeah. So, well, isn't it winter there
Yeah, yeah.
almost?
So it's sort of 10, 12 degrees Celsius, which I guess is nothing really in Minnesota winters. I'm gonna quickly do the
Yes, please.
do the conversion for you.
Oh,
Uh, so it's sort of it's about 50.
okay.
50, 51. So
It's a
it's
nice spring day.
yeah. I was gonna say that's
Yeah,
probably t-shirt weather for you.
definitely. Definitely for my kids at least. They're impervious to cold, so
Oh man. Um. So let's pivot a little bit to the old Star Wars. How's your Star Wars life going?
it's going. Obviously, we're in a little bit of a not too much exciting going on, but I have been watching The Bad Batch,
Mm-hmm.
and recently, so we can talk about that in a moment. Of course, I have my opinions, but
Excellent.
the one, so my Star Wars life. So it's really important to me, even though like I'm not like right now, like I'm not as immersed into maybe the Star Wars fandom at the moment. I'm a little more fair weather, where if there's nothing too exciting going on, I can kind of like pay attention to other things and just still listen to my occasional podcasts, Star Wars podcasts, to stay up on the news, and then maybe do a quick little run through Twitter now and then.
Yep.
But it's still very important to me that every new person I meet, every new friend I make, and as many strangers as possible know that I care about Star Wars. And so I've
Yeah, got that
recently,
brand, it's your brand
yeah,
still. So
I recently have been getting close with my neighbors. We've been here almost 3 years, but I'm introverted, so it takes me time. But we do have just a ton of young families on this, just like 1 or 2 blocks. So that's awesome. My kids have been friends with all the kids for a long time, but I just recently started hanging out with the moms. And
joined the
so,
local mummy mafia.
yes, and we have a neighborhood book club. So that was helpful to get to know them. But so I've sort of been like, feeling out like, okay, who here knows anything about Star
Who wants to
Wars?
read Thrawn Ascendancy to the book club?
Who
You're just
wants
like,
to, yeah. So I found out a couple of their husbands went to our Star Wars fans and went to Rise of Skywalker solo because they didn't have any other Star Wars friends. I'm like, oh, if only I known, we all could have gone together. And then some of them have never seen Star Wars, so I said, well, when you are ready, I would love to help you take your first steps into a
the larger
larger,
world.
yes, and I
Nice.
will come prepared with timelines and family trees, whatever you need to know. I'm here to help, so just let me know. So I keep joking about winter. I'm like, as soon as it's winter, we're having Star Wars watch parties. We're going to do every movie, like one a week.
I thought you were going to sort of, put the projector up in the backyard, in the summer nights and.
Oh, that's funny because one of my neighbors was just talking about how they're going to put a projector in the back of their garage so that since it's summer now, so that we can watch it like from the driveway. So, otherwise it would be too light out if they had it outside.
Yep.
And I said, and then we can watch Star Wars. And I'm like, long have I waited. And like the husbands who knew what I was saying were just like laughing. I'm like, everything is coming together as I have foreseen. Just like me and like the two guys were like having a good chuckle, but everyone else was very confused.
Well, you can play to your audience. That's all right. That's how you sound out who knows what, really.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. That's great that you got a few new little buddies and stuff, around that you can, just they don't have to be as hardcore. It's just that they've got an interest. At least you can be like,
Yeah.
if a trailer comes out or something, you can be like, hey, what'd you think about this? And what'd you think about that? And what about your kids? Where are they at? Are they? I think you sort of said they're kind of like they're in, but they're not in. They're sort of, it's like mum's thing or.
They still would tell you it's mom's thing, but they're interested now and then. We just got our friend gave us a stack of like golden books.
Oh yeah.
Um, and it was like each book is like, I am a Jedi, I am a Sith, I am a droid, I am a pilot, I am a princess. And so I've been reading those with my younger son, and he's been enjoying those. And I've actually learned a few things about Star Wars from those, which is unexpected.
Like, did you know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father? Like, this book is blowing my mind.
Okay, I already in the I am a Sith Lord one, they're explaining the rule of two, which of course I knew that, but it went a step further and said one to like control or yield the power, not yield, one to like rule the power and one to crave the power. I was like, oh, I've never heard it explained that way.
I'm just wondering how they managed to adapt that into a golden book where it's kind of like we've got to play down the murdering and the backstabbing and the genocide and all the kind of bad stuff that the Sith do, and put it into a golden book.
Yep,
it's an interesting take.
Let's see. My youngest son recently asked for I know I'm going to say this wrong. Praetorian Guard.
Yep,
I said it right.
Guys.
I always feel like I'm saying it wrong. Okay, so he wanted one of those. He wanted a Funko Pop of one, and just randomly. And I was at my office like the next day and realized I already have one, so I brought it home to him. He was excited about that, and then he was setting up like the 3 other Star Wars Funko Pops he has, and he's like, "I like Star Wars now." I'm like, okay,
I get stuff. So
yeah, for 1 minute, we'll see what happens. Like, they have not watched The Bad Batch. I haven't tried. I mean, they might be into it, but
haven't
I've
got there
mostly
yet.
been I watch that when they're in bed, so I'm not distracted.
I showed Olive, my 5-year-old. She's nearly 6, and she was talking about watching Star Wars, and I was like, oh, and I said, well, which one? If you wanted to watch it, which one would you want to watch? Would you want to watch because she's sort of getting the idea of, because she's got like some Princess Leia, those sort of Forces of Destiny ones, and it's sort of like, and then she saw a picture of Princess Leia in a book, and she was like General Leia, older Leia, and I'm going, well, it's like a long story, so there's a bit where she's younger, and then the story goes on, and then she's older in the other stories and things, and I said, well, if you were going to watch one, do you want to watch like young Princess Leia, or do you want to watch the ones with Rey and older Princess? She's like, Rey. I want to watch like Rey. I want to watch the Rey one. Whatever Rey's in, I want to watch. And I said, oh, all right. Well, I'm not sure about this because she's not great with some stuff.
She's still risk adverse.
Yeah, she's risk adverse. Yeah, like it took a while for even to get through Frozen completely and stuff like that. So I said, all right, we'll put Force Awakens on and we'll see how we go here.
First 5 minutes, how did that go?
That was probably the toughest because it's pretty intense. Because there's a lot of murder and stuff in it as well.
Right away.
Yeah, she's a bit just like, okay, what's going on here? Like then BB-8 turned up. She was like, okay, BB-8. And she was a bit sort of, and she was going, who's that guy? And I'm like, it's Poe Dameron. He's a pilot. Who's that
handsome
guy? Yeah, he's handsome. And then like Kylo Ren turns up. She's like, is that Darth Vader? I'm like, no, it's not Darth Vader. But I didn't want to spoil too much. I'm like, he's the baddie. She's like, okay, I get this. But there's a bit of murdering and stuff in there. And then by the time Rey turned up, she was like, okay, cool. I'm like, I'm invested in this, She was sort of asking questions about, where's her friends, what's she doing, all this kind of things. And then, Finn was the stormtrooper. And there was like the blood on the stormtrooper. She didn't like that. She doesn't like blood, the blood on and I said, oh, did his friend die? I'm like, yeah, but he doesn't want to be bad. So that's why he's run away. And so we got about halfway through. Oh, no, that's not true. We got about 40 minutes through. So once they sort of got off Jakku into the Falcon and then Han and Chewie turned up, and then she was kind of like, oh, I think I've seen enough, I think I've watched enough for now. So I just said, all right, that's cool. Like you made it that far. Well done. Like we'll
right
pick it up.
before the Rathars.
No, we didn't get to the Rathars. So
yeah, that's probably for the best.
Yeah. Again, I was like, this could go two ways. It'll either be funny or there's a little bit too much peril in there. So she did pretty well. She did pretty well, I think. The fact that she, I think she's just doing it because, she knows I like it.
And so that was the very first time she watched any live action Star Wars?
Yeah, she'd seen clips and things. Like I've shown her clips on YouTube and things, but she's always seen like the Forces of Destiny cartoons she'd seen, and then there was some other little shorts, the Galaxy of Adventures ones, those shorts she'd seen. And we watched one of the Lego things as well, and she saw that. But this was the first sort of like, this is the most she'd sat through for sure. And she did pretty well. And it is like, I'd completely forgotten how intense the start of that movie is, with all the shooting and things. But yeah, not too bad. So let's talk Bad Batch, Jess. Where you at? Where you sitting on Bad Batch? Are you sort of watching it because you're enjoying it, or are you watching it because you're Star Wars and you feel like you got to watch it? Or somewhere in the middle?
Probably more of the latter. I mean, it's certainly not like, it's not that I don't like it. It's just like not like probably not something I'll go back and rewatch.
Yep.
There's like little parts of it that I really enjoy. One of my favorite things is when Wrecker uses Gronk, the gonk. There's a bar in Duluth called
what's your name? He's like, Gronk.
And it was just talking about Gronks.
Oh, really?
It's the gonk droid when he's using it to exercise. And I feel like not enough people are talking about that. It's very
that's
important
pretty good,
little background tidbit that brings me great joy.
I never really thought that, like, for some reason, I'm sure that they do. I never really thought that clones would have to, like, exercise. I just thought they'd just be buff because they're all, like, clones. Like, Jango Fett was buff, so they're all just automatically buff. But maybe that's not the case, because I guess there are a few scrawny ones, aren't there? So maybe you do have to keep sort of like doing your reps or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I'm like Chris Reeve in Superman 2, then going, I've been working out, like just maybe doing the lamest, showing that I do know nothing about doing proper sort of like buff exercises.
I got a little emotional. So I just I just watched Battle Scars last night because I told Nate like, well, so I'm recording with Josh tomorrow, so I have to watch Bad Batch tonight.
There'll be a
like,
quiz because he's definitely going to quiz me on it.
He's like, okay, so he's like, I'll make a Manhattan and watch it with you. So now there's a car alarm. Can you hear the car alarm going off?
Oh,
I feel like I'm Eric Struthers complaining about my neighbors.
About road neighbors. Kids going nuts. There's car alarms. The masks are off. Things are just getting very loose there in Minnesota at the moment.
It's crazy here now. Where is that? What was I saying? Oh, I got emotional when, Wrecker kind of snaps and he's going after Omega, and then when he comes out of it and he's trying to say, I'm sorry, that wasn't me. And I don't know, that's just a touching moment.
Where
I
are
was
you
trying to fight it, and yeah.
Where are you with Omega?
I like her. I wasn't sure about her at first. Seems like that seems to be the general consensus, but I like her a lot now. She has a lot of really cute, low-key moments that I've enjoyed as well. Like, just like you can, like, in the background, like she's making, like you can tell she's got like inside jokes with her buddy Wrecker and Hunter.
Yeah. How
just watching her.
How are you going with the accent?
It was a little off-putting at first, honestly. Even though, I do like the accent, but it was just like, oh, it's just so different. Like, it's not an accent we ever hear here in America.
It's a thick New Zealand accent. Like it's a New Zealand accent. It's a thick New Zealand accent. The trick to New Zealand accents, because I had a huge crush on a New Zealand girl in high school who was like an exchange student. So I was very like, I've always had a very soft spot for the accent, really. So it's sort of like an Australian accent, but like the vowels change. So A becomes E, and E becomes I, and then I disappears. So if you say bat, you say bet. If you say bet, you say bit. And if you say bit, you say but. So that's how it works. So that's why Wrecker becomes Ricker, because E becomes I.
Okay.
So that's the trick. So if you say bin, it says bin. If you say ban, it says ben. So that's basically the pronunciation of the vowels. It's not a perfect system. It does depend, but in my experience, that's how it usually sort of, like Brett from Fly the Conchords is Brit. They call him Brit because the E becomes I. So, that's that's where it comes from. It's just weird, it's sort of funny that the New Zealand accents just become such a major part of Star Wars now, probably even more so than Australian. Like there's a couple of, even all the Australians who are in Star Wars, because they filmed those like 2 and 3 in Australia, they all do American or British accents. They sort of hide their accents. But then the one that kind of punched through was the New Zealand one. So
yeah, well, I've gotten used to it, but at first I was like, oh, this. Not oh in a bad way, but just like this is just like kind of intense.
Yeah,
but,
like how many New Zealanders are you really running into, like in Minnesota? Really,
Zero.
Yeah,
like zero. But no, I enjoy it. It's cute. It was just like it took some getting used to.
Do you think that she'd have the same? Do you think the accent's like giving her a little bit of a pass? Like the cute kid sidekick. You think the fact that she's got that accent that kind of conveys a tone and an innocence or an attitude makes her more likable? Like if she just had an American accent, wouldn't cut it as much.
Yeah, you might be onto something.
She might just be like the kid, the cute kid that they bring in, like in the Cosby Show or something, when the other kid ages out. And
like there was never a point where I thought she was annoying. Like I definitely thought, oh my god, what's his name now? Not Kanan, but
Ezra.
Ezra, like I thought
the little
Ezra
one,
was,
the little scamp. That little
Ezra.
Scamp.
Oh, that was a rough go for me for a while there with Ezra. But yeah, I never I didn't have that problem with her.
Interesting. So I wonder if Ezra had a New Zealand accent, whether it would have
maybe. Who knows?
It's all about family. Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody dub a New Zealand accent over Ezra and
Yeah,
see
some of the
if.
New Zealand listeners, Saf or who else is in New Zealand? Reed Parker, who does the Photoshop stuff. He's a New Zealander. They're out there. Come on, guys. I don't want to.
I know we need some focus groups.
Australians think that they can do a New Zealand accent, but because there does share a lot of similar tone and stuff, but we can't really. It's a very tricky accent to get right. If anybody has ever seen Steve Guttenberg try to do one before, it's very difficult.
Well, see, I know I just hear it so like almost never. I wouldn't know a bad one from a good one.
You're like, well, I guess that's what they sound like.
Yep.
Well, that was the thing because it was so thick. Like it's the actor who plays it. She's got a really. I'd like to actually see an interview with her, a video one, see if her action's that thick when she talks normally. That I did actually hear it for the first time. I'm like, oh, I wonder if because the guy who does the clones, D. Bradley Baker, he's not a New Zealander. He's just putting it on. He's just doing the voice, like he's just imitating Tamara Morrison. So I was curious, going like, oh, is this just somebody who's just having a crack at a New Zealand accent that's just coming out super thick? But she is a New Zealander, and that's, well, at least maybe not how she talks, but it's how she gets the character to talk.
I don't know. I'm sure. I mean, she'll probably be at Celebration, so maybe we can do some reconnaissance and find out.
She might not be able to. She might not be able to get out. I don't know what the border restrictions are. I'd have to check. I have a feeling that New Zealand is actually slightly slacker than us.
Well, she's probably not recording Bad Batch from New Zealand, right? So she had to have got.
She could.
I suppose she could. She could. I mean, she could.
We're recording this now using the magic of technology.
That's true. I guess, yeah, you're right. I'm for some reason I'm just assuming everyone gets in the room together and has a. So they can play off each other's emotions and facial. I don't know.
I always like those.
Probably not like that.
Behind the scenes things of Disney or Pixar when they show there's Tom Hanks and Tim Allen having a laugh and being Buzz Lightyear, and I always like seeing that, going, oh, there they are. That's them talking like Woody for some reason.
Yeah. We did a lot of I miss this so much. My kids used to be obsessed with Moana, and we would watch Moana every day, and then we would also watch all the bonus features, and there was a lot of The Rock and the young lady who voices Moana behind the microphone together.
Yeah, it's Moana's a thing here at our house now. So the girls have got onto Moana. It hasn't sort of gotten Frozen level, but the soundtrack's getting some play. And then my daughter's school, they're doing a school play, and they're doing Moana. That's their school play, but it's some sort of truncated version where it's only an hour long. But I don't know if that's a Disney sanctioned thing, or if they're just flying under the radar. I don't know what the legalities of putting Moana on. Is it just like Star Wars fan films? If you don't make any money off it, it doesn't really matter, or I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
So I don't
think anyone's going to jail.
No, I don't think they're going to arrest the local primary school for putting. The Disney police are going to turn up and try and shut this thing down. So I think Oliver's just, she's just like a crab or a. They just bring the little ones out to do some little dancing and things. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Cute.
But we had to. One of the things we had to do in lockdown, I guess, to keep them busy was watch some sort of stage production of Moana. And it was really weird because they were just go to YouTube and find one. They didn't give us a proper link to one.
And are there multiple?
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of them. I was going, well, I guess this one. It was just some sort of summer camps production of Moana, and it was just someone with a camcorder in the audience. I'm going, is this it? I thought there'd be some sort of, Disney Plus, Disney shot one or something, but no. It's just a bit budget. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to think, when you were on last, you must have been on post Mandalorian.
Yes.
Did we talk about all that sort of new Disney shows and things? Have you done any High Republic stuff? Have you read any of the books or comics or anything? Or is it just sort of?
I haven't. Have you? Have you read the books? Are they good?
No, I haven't. I've heard the.
No, they're not good.
No. I haven't read them, but I've heard that they're good. So, before you come at me, everybody. No, I haven't heard. No, I haven't read them, but I've listened to sort of a couple of podcasts where sort of King Tom or Hawes or people like that have broken down the plot. I've gone, oh, that sounds really interesting.
I would be interested in that. That might be a good thing to do to keep my Star Wars fan card from expiring
in case the Disney
while
police
we
turn up
wait
again, and yeah,
for whatever is going to come out next.
book
Book of
club, man.
Boba or Mandalorian Book Club? Yeah, I don't know about that.
You're like,
Although
hey guys,
we did, me and one of the other, there's one gal in my neighborhood / book club who is into like fantasy young adult novels like I am, like nerdy, like fairies and um yeah. And so we collectively kind of, her and I, everyone had been drinking, but her and I, we, and just so you know, we get to walk home, so it's safe.
okay, all right. So we don't have to
So
worry about the Disney police. We have to worry about the real police here. We don't have to
we,
involve them either.
yes, we just kind of shoehorned a young adult fantasy novel into our next book club pick. So we, I, after that, they may not allow me to choose the next book. So it might be a while before I can get them to read trick them into reading a Star Wars book.
You'll be a person of interest then. They're like, she tried to put in what was the name of the book out of interest? Does it have a neutral name, or could you look at it and go like,
A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas.
okay, well, it's not like, Vladar the dragon and the something. You know what I mean? Like, you could look at that and go, all right, well, it could be a legal procedure. It could be a legal drama book or something. It's got a court in it.
Could be, yes.
It doesn't scream fairies and dragons.
The
and
alarming
right
thing is, to me, that it's considered young adult, and it's very smutty. There are some smutty parts in there. I'm like,
is that how you sold it? You're like, hey guys, don't poo-poo it yet. There's some pretty cool smutty stuff in here.
Well, we did, because I don't think that hurt. That didn't. But I'm just like, what? Like, are there 16-year-old girls out there reading this? That combined with the teenage hormones is not going to do anyone any favors.
Oh well, I've got that to look forward to with
yep.
teenage girls. To be honest,
do not let them read Sarah J. Maas until they're at least 20.
I would rather them read that than like be into like Kardashians or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather them just be book nerds. Like, I'd like to have nerdy children. I'd be fine with that. Yeah. At least I'll know where they are most of the time.
That's true.
They're not getting out and things. So, so I guess Book of Boba Fett is the next thing we've got. And then all that sort of Kenobi stuff has started. Have you seen the sort of like photos of Ewan McGregor walking around with a rubbish bag over him to try and hide his Obi-Wan Kenobi outfit?
I haven't. I did see the Ewan McGregor and oh my god! See, they're coming from my Star Wars card.
The Disney police, they're at the door.
The guy who played the Mandalorian.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Thank you.
There he is.
Oh my god, I love him too.
He's so upset. He's listening right now. He's so hurt. He's like, what happened?
Like, she's such a fake fan.
She's such a fake fan.
I mean, someone go to her house and get all the Mandalorian merchandise out of it immediately.
Bring it to me so I can burn it in front of her. Make an example of her.
So I saw their cutesy little YouTube chat clip.
Yeah, they're like, ooh, I can't tell. Ooh, I can't tell either.
So when do we have any sort of release date kind of like idea for Kenobi? Do you know?
I think next year. I think that's all I know.
So maybe we'll get some celebration footage at least, I would think.
Say if they're filming now, they would, they definitely have. Yeah, I would say at the very least there would be trailers by then. I think there might be something before that. It's hard to say. It's sort of. There's only 6 or 7 parts, so it should be all finished filming in a few months. So whether that's that or whether it's even they show it there, or I don't know. It's because they've moved it up a little bit to May. I feel like there's a lot of release schedule sort of thinking around that as well. Like kind of going, we wanted to drop some stuff because I think Andor's been shooting as well too. Shout out Catherine, and I feel like that's even further along. So I think it'll probably be Book of Boba Fett in December, and then Andor, and then maybe Kenobi late next year, perhaps. But I'm not too sure.
I would say I'm most excited for Andor. I am also a huge. Oh my god,
Diego Luna. Wow, you know what?
Oh my gosh! Just pull the plug.
You haven't upset the Disney police. You've actually just upset Catherine Neen right now. She's like, what happened? I thought we were mates.
Yeah. Anyways, God, this
Diego
is so
and Pedro are
embarrassing.
texting each other right now. Really.
Somebody put me out of my misery. I'm very excited for that show because I loved that character, and I know I've said this on multiple podcasts, but when the first time I saw Rogue One, and obviously we all know how that ended, I was just devastated that was the end of so many of those characters because I thought there was so much. I wanted more time with them. I wanted their backstory, and now we get to have some of that. So
yeah, for sure. Like I'm really excited too. I'm just sort of all the intrigue. I like the idea that it's sort of like spies and espionage and all that kind of thing. And yeah, give me more Star Wars and
Cassian. That's his name.
Oh right, sorry. I thought you were talking about the actor's name.
That too, but I was cleverly like trying to tiptoe, like say all the things without having to use his
name. You're like, what's his name? Mustache guy.
This is water. I swear.
Handsome mustache guy. Yeah, maybe that's what
Andor.
happened. Maybe you do need a few beers.
He's been in this fight since he was 6 years old. Come on.
Come on.
And K2SO. See, okay, it's coming back to me. God.
You're just recharging the batteries. It's just like
yes, it's been a long time. Okay,
you've been inside.
We've got a dry
long
spell.
Time.
Mm-hmm.
You've been inside.
I saw all the news trickling out about the characters that were going to reprise their roles. Let's see if I can remember any of their names. Well, we've got the Cape guy.
We've got Cape guy.
Now I'm so nervous that I can't.
This isn't a quiz. This is not the kind of podcast where I'm trying to exert some kind of Star Wars knowledge dominance on you, Jess.
I need to like sneakily use my IMDb app and pretend like I know anything.
Mendo
Thank
himself.
you.
Yep.
Mendo, Director Krennic. The guy who like adopted Jin. What was his name? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. What does it start with?
S.
Sagrera.
Yeah, I was almost gonna be like, like if you need to cut a tree branch, like you just got to get the. Yeah, so he's not Lawrence Fishburne. Oh goodness, he won the Oscar.
It's catching.
It is. Now you've got me sort of. Yeah, so he said he was back. Forrest Whitaker. He is back, and yeah, they said that Ben Mendelsohn's coming back too. So it's sort of everybody's coming back except for
Jimmy Smits. Are we going to get Jimmy Smits? Do you think?
I think so. If it's about the rebellion and stuff, it kind of makes sense, really. Yeah. Like he's the guy. I just kind of going, where's Felicity Jones? Like, where's Jyn Erso?
Well, they met in Rogue One, so how could they? I guess if Saw's in it,
with Saw's in it, she can be because she was running with Saw for ages, so she doesn't have to be sharing a scene with him. But it could certainly be he's at his base with his mates and throws over to Jyn Erso.
But she did say it's been a long. When was your last contact with Saw Gerrera? Well, it's been a long time. See, I can recite lines from the movie. I can keep my Star Wars fan card.
and the guy who was Cape guy, and yeah, but I mean, a long time. You were in lockdown for a long time. That was only a year. So a year's a long time.
Are you shaming me right now? I should have been watching Star Wars on repeat.
No. I'm just saying, like, if you just say a long time, it can be determined as to be 15 years. It can be a year.
I think, doesn't she say? So I don't know how far back Andor goes, but I remember when she confronted him about ditching her, she was like, didn't she say like I was 16 or?
Oh, maybe.
I think she.
I don't think even Felicity Jones. She's a good actor, but maybe she can't pull off 16 anymore.
Yeah, so
they might have to see. Oh, they could do some magic. They could do that Mark Hamill de-aging thing, and they could, it'd be easier to make Felicity Jones, who's probably 30s, look 16 than it is to make 60-year-old Hamill look like 25-year-old Hamill.
But as we recently learned, I don't know anything about Star Wars, so I may have just made up that line. So who knows?
No,
Um,
I gotta stick you to that.
I don't think. I mean, I don't see us getting Felicity Jones. I could see. I mean, I think we need Bail Organa. Who else could they throw in there as like a
Mon Mothma, surely.
yep?
Um,
But could we see? Would we see Ahsoka? She's what was her code name in Rebels? Uh,
Fulcrum. Fulcrum.
Fulcrum. Fulcrum. Yes.
Damn, there's a pull.
So
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
they could
I
pull
feel
her
like
in.
it'd
I
be
mean, we're
weird.
doing it
It just feel weird if she was. It's just that
unless they
Rogue
did
One.
it right, Josh.
I
Unless isn't
know.
that the thing? If
I
they
just
do
that
it
Rogue
right,
One aesthetic of sort of down and dirty. It just feels weird if you drop a Jedi
a
with a bunch of
shiny Jedi.
lightsabers. It just sort of. I feel like it'd just look weird, but maybe I'm wrong. Could be
Yeah.
wrong. Well, she'd only be. But depending on the time period, she wouldn't be much older than she is in.
I'm
So I'm
not
not quite
saying I
sure
want
how.
Ahsoka because I think I agree with you. I don't. It would be nice to have Andor be its own, keep that same like gritty vibe
Hmm.
from Rogue One that was
And it
like
makes their
so
problems
unique when
harder if there's no Jedi's to help them out. You know what I mean? Like they can't be
yeah.
relying on some Jedi to come in and give them a hand. It's sort of like, no, we got to be down and dirty, boots on the ground here.
Mm-hmm.
We got
Yeah.
to teach Cape Guy a lesson. And
Okay, what about this? What if we get well, we know Hera's around
mm-hmm.
because she was
That'd work. Yeah.
what about their kid? Hera and Kanan's kid. Live action, whatever that kid's name is, because there's no chance I'm gonna remember that.
Hang on. When
Do
was
you
that
remember
made?
it? Do you remember it? Did he
Nah, he won't be around then. He wasn't born until like after Star Wars, wasn't he? When did Kanan eat it? He
Okay,
eats
well
it
that
because the end of
that
Rebels leads quite close to Rogue One, doesn't it? So no, he wouldn't. Because if Andor's going back,
oh yeah.
so
Okay,
those
true.
Rebels crew could potentially be around. Like Hera
Mhm.
is sort of the most logical because she was already sort of involved. But yeah, I'd have to get my whiteboard out. I'd have to be like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with all the lines and things and trying to connect
Yep.
the dots, the Pepe Sylvia stuff. But yeah, it's cool because it's sort of that thing where you go, oh, like I kind of know what this is going to be, but I don't really know what it's going to be. Like you kind of go, well, it's going to be spies and the rebels and stuff, but like I don't really know how's it going to work. Like especially when you're throwing all these sort of recurring characters from Rogue One, it seems like it could actually be quite a big story.
Mm-hmm. I hope they make it. Although, I mean, depending on how far back they go, it would be exciting to have some of these shows be more than one season. Like, it seems like we're getting a lot of, well, shortly, Kenobi's, just like, what is it, six? Like a
Yeah.
mini series, basically. Bad Batch, we don't know, but I don't see that going far. We just got like the final season of Clone Wars. It's just like these little snippets of
Mm.
things, or like give us. I mean, obviously, The Mandalorian is going into season 3, and hopefully many more after,
Yep.
or a few more after at least. But I guess what I'm saying is, it would be nice for Andor to have 4 or 5 seasons
To
if
not
they
have to
could.
sort of wrap everything up on that sort of little at the end of it. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'll be up for it. More Star Wars for sure. And it's sort of they've got stars, but they haven't got Ewan McGregor, who's a movie star. It's harder to get those a movie star to commit to more seasons of something. But Diego Luna, sorry, he's a star, but he would probably he's done multiple seasons of television before, so it makes it a little bit easier to commit your stars and stuff. But yeah, look, I'll just give me a Star Wars show every week. I'll sit down and watch it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like Disney Plus still gets a workout at our house. It does usually play Moana or Frozen most of the time, but it does. It's still it was good to have Loki on. I was surprised that they got Tom Hiddleston and all those Marvel people to come back and do shows because I kind of was like, oh wow, they're movie stars, but I think it's prestige television's kind of shifted now. Like they'll do it.
Maybe they surprised all those stars with, oh, did you know there was this little clause in your contract that said, should we decide to acquire a streaming service and make TV shows out of your character, you're contractually obligated to perform that role.
Oh
They're
yeah,
like,
I think it's probably more like, Tom Hiddleston walks into the Disney office and he says, like, I specifically said I'm not doing television. They went, oh, Tom, no one's asking you to do television. This is premium streaming, mate. This is not broadcast television. This is the new little clause thing that we put in there just to get you on there. But I don't know. I watched that first Loki episode. He seemed pretty happy to be there. So
yeah, you did. I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, for sure. Now we're just about to round this off, Jess. We've just, as usual, burnt through our time.
Will you just quickly ask me like a Star Wars trivia question that has to do with the movie so I can redeem myself?
I don't like Star Wars because I don't like the idea that somehow I have to test somebody's validity. But you have asked. All right,
not prequels, not prequels. Don't.
Okay, what no prequels? Okay.
This is just for myself. I need to redeem myself to myself.
All right, what's the name of Princess Leia's spaceship that gets in A New Hope that gets chased by the Empire?
Tantive 4.
Boom! She's back.
Ah,
look at that.
I thought you were going boo for a second. Like,
boo! You got it wrong. Boo! Disney police are at the door. You're getting.
Okay, there. I can sleep now. I can sleep tonight. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, you wouldn't want to have to trudge back to your new Star Wars friends and just be like, say, sorry guys, the book club's off. I'm a liar. I'm a fraud.
Yeah.
No, don't feel like that at all. Thank you so much for coming on. So nice to catch up. Hopefully we'll see you at Celebration, but I'm sure that's still a year away. Hopefully we'll get you on the pod before then anyway. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow you, even though you're sort of lurking at the moment.
I am. I am on Twitter at Darth_Schroeder. Yeah, you can find me there. Friend me, follow me. I tweet like once a week. Not always about Star Wars, although I feel like I don't know. I need to get some more Star Wars tweets in there.
All right. Well, you'll have to promote this podcast at least. So you've got
of course.
You've got that to do. So
good.
Awesome. Thank you everybody for listening and sticking with us. We're sort of doing this fortnight nearly now, just because that's the time it takes, and that's what the time I've got. And if things ramp up, we'll ramp it up more often. We'll just do it as we can. So thank you everybody for listening and hanging around. And thank you, Jess. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I believe we will.
Awesome. See you later.
Do or do not. Bye.